Have you ever wondered what it was like to joke around in ancient Roman times? They were famous for their creative ways to have fun, including joking and making fun of each other. In fact, the jokes of Roman generals and emperors could be used to scare people. Their jokes are timeless, as is their historical legacy. For example, Emperor Elagabalus, known as one of the most immoral emperors, had his own joke. He once ate using a silver plate and placed a gold cloth on his couch. Because of his love for luxury, he was labeled as a pleasure seeker. A Roman print entitled Historia Augusta records that Elagabalus had relationships with his wild animals as a joke. He had a pet lion and leopard that had been trained to fight. To frighten and surprise his guests during the banquet, he ordered his big cats to climb onto the sofa. The panic of the guests amused Elagabalus greatly, for they had no idea that these animals were awake. The emperor even sent lions and leopards into his guests' rooms after getting drunk on wine. The guests were terrified and eventually died of fright. Besides lions, Elagabalus also favored other wild animals, such as elephants, dogs, lions, tigers, and camels in Rome. On one occasion, the emperor collected snakes and he suddenly released them before dawn in the city at the circus. His pranks caused a madness, to the point that some were injured. The emperor was not always the butt of jokes. He was also a victim. For example, Emperor Claudius. He was often regarded as a fool by his relative Julio Claudia, who often tormented his life. The Roman writer Suetonius tells the story in his Life of Claudius. Emperor Tiberius, who was Claudius's uncle, and Caligula, his nephew, liked to make Claudius's life a living hell. If Claudius arrived late for dinner, everyone made him walk around the banquet hall instead of sitting down immediately. If he fell asleep during dinner, they would throw olives and dates at him. It was not uncommon for Claudius to be attacked by jesters with whips or sticks. Queen Cleopatra, the 7th of Egypt, and Marcus Antonius also often joked when they were dating. Once, when Antonius and Cleopatra were fishing, Antonius was upset because he always couldn't catch fish. It should be noted that fishing was not included in the education of the Roman elite. To impress his lover, Antonius ordered some of his fishermen to dive and secretly tied a fish to his rope. Cleopatra was not fooled and decided to trap her lover. She pretended to admire Antonius's fishing skills. Then, Cleopatra invited her friends to watch her lover fish the next day. On a crowded boat, Cleopatra ordered the others to put foreign fish on Antonius's hook. As a result, Antonius was laughed at by many people for catching only foreign fish. Laughing at bald people was common humor in Rome, but Emperor Commodus was particularly messed up. Historia Augusta once criticized his creepy sense of humor. It is said that he once injured a bald man sitting nearby. There were only a few white hairs on the man's head. Commodus instead put a starling on his head and imagined the starling was chasing a worm. So the man's scalp was pecked to shreds. The last was Antonius of Byzantium. He was a mathematician and architect involved in the construction of the Hagia Sophia during the time of Emperor Justinianus I, who lived close to his house. They often quarreled because the Zeno had built a balcony that blocked his view, or about the court. One day Antonius gained access to Zeno's cellar, somehow managing to get in. He installed a steam-pressurized device that caused the next-door neighbor's house to vibrate. Zeno escapes. On his return, Antonius uses a perforated mirror to simulate thunder and lightning storms. The goal was clear, to make his enemies even more frightened. Yes, that's how the Romans used to be. Just like today, they like to make strange jokes or what we usually call annoying pranks.